So I'm here to hopefully give you something you can take away. So they said learn as much as possible. I'm hoping to give you one thing today that you can take home with you, that you can implement into your life and business. So my name is Mike Claudio. Eric did an amazing job. Keynote speaking is very difficult. In case you don't know that, public speaking is like one of the top fears in the world. Eric spent the 90 minutes before his keynote speech dealing with technical difficulties. I have a clicker. This clicker doesn't work. Eric's entire presentation was managed by someone on his team who just knew his presentation so well, she moved the slides for him. He didn't have a clicker. He had magic. So can you go back one slide for me, please? We're going to do this the whole time. Perfect. Thank you. So I am the CEO of WinRate Consulting as well as Profit Panda. So WinRate is a one-on-one business coaching company for contractors. I've been doing this full-time for the last 6 years. I have a team of 9 coaches now, 17 employees. We've helped hundreds of companies in that one-on-one coaching environment. There's a ton of great programs and groups and masterminds out there. I wanted to build something a little bit different for somebody who was looking for aggressive accountability. That is what we do. I have an intimidating stature, and that's on purpose, because I want to teach people how to have discipline and mental toughness in their life. Profit Panda is a fractional CFO bookkeeping company that I became a partner and CEO of last year. We work with contractors primarily on helping them understand their books, their reporting, their numbers, so they can take control of their business and life. I'm going to talk about business and life a lot. You cannot have one without the other. So I'm going to ask a couple questions right now. I don't want you to react. I just want you to think about it. Don't raise your hand. Don't respond, don't shake your head, because there's going to be some tough questions. Does anybody in here, or has anybody in here, ever felt like they're letting everyone in their life down? Has anybody in here lost key relationships, employees, spouses, relationships that meant a lot to you because you did not know how to prioritize your time correctly? Has anybody in here lost sleep over the fact that they just did not know what to do next to develop the things that they said they wanted? The answer is likely yes to at least one of those, and if not, you should be up here speaking. Because those are some of the biggest challenges that I see on a regular basis. Some of the biggest challenges I see in helping high performers actually follow through on what they say they're going to do every time. For everyone, that matters. And the part of this that matters the most is that last part, that matters. Most of us talk about, we're doing this for our families, we're doing this for the life, we're doing it for the money maybe. Just be honest about it. I think some people are like, yeah, I'm doing this for my kids. You know for a fact you're doing it for the money. You're doing it for the scoreboard that matters most to you. Maybe it's the authority, maybe it's the leadership, maybe it's how your friends think about you, maybe it is the size of your house and how sick your car is and that awesome boat you just got. Be honest about it. My presentation today is going to help you understand what I mean more by that. But the number one thing that I want you to take away from this presentation, that I have zero doubt after coaching hundreds of businesses, thousands of people, it is going to take a wildly uncomfortable level of selfishness to accomplish the things that you want. Click. Yeah. But there's 2 types of selfishness. I think people have such a negative connotation around selfishness, it's become this bad thing. Oh, don't be selfish. Why? Why not be selfish? Why not build a life exactly the way you want? Why not have everything in your life the exact way you want? I deal with so many business owners that because they don't know how to execute on this, have a business they don't even want to show up to anymore. They have employees they hate, employees they don't trust, friends that cause them to get into habits and rituals and addictions that they just want to quit on. Because when you're not drawing the line and saying, I'm not crossing that line anymore, you have the ability to give. Because when you get really selfish, You have more energy, you have more time, you have more ability to focus on the people that matter most. You stop hanging out with that friend that takes advantage of you. You stop picking up every tab. You stop getting fat because you're like, well, I just don't have time to go to the gym, and like, but this is just who I am. This is just the season. Someday, Mike. There's not a single person in here, there's not a better leader, a better spouse, a better parent, a better friend, a better revenue generator than a healthy person. But we don't put that first. Because there is a type of selfishness that is to take. And one of the greatest, I'll say, sentences that I've heard about this statement is, takers don't have a limit, but givers do. Takers will drain you, bleed you, ruin your life, ruin your money, ruin your happiness. And then you as a giver just, well, maybe if I give a little bit more. One more time, maybe that'll be enough. One more dollar, maybe it'll be enough. One more sacrifice of what I actually want to do. One more time not doing what's best for me. Maybe it'll be enough. Because there are people out there that are selfish to take. You have something they want. They have an emptiness with no base in it, no bottom. And they just absorb the life out of everything around them. They can also be identified as a victim. We all know victims in our lives. Nothing's ever their fault. They're never held responsible. They always blame everybody else. There's never a time in their life they sit down and go, maybe I'm responsible for this shithole I'm in. Maybe that's you. It's easy to do because you don't pay attention to it, because you get taken advantage of that one time, and then you assume everybody wants to take advantage of you. So then it becomes everybody else's problem. But if you can get really good at being selfish on the things for you to give to the things that matter most, your whole life will change. The way you look in the mirror will change. The way you wake up will change. The way you communicate in your team meetings will change. The way you recruit will change. The way you close deals will change. The way you'll feel confident finally raising prices the way you've been talking about for years, but your scarcity mindset won't let you, because what if we lose all these bad clients that don't want to pay us any money? Then what will we do? Bankrupt is what happens next. Like, that's what happens. You know, Eric talks about when you don't know you're losing 10 or 12% on every project, and you're like, man, there's so much money coming into the business, but like, why is the bank account always empty? Ooh, that one hurt somebody. But it's real. When you don't become selfish enough to draw the line on what you will and won't tolerate, you end up sacrificing everything. And you wake up one day, you don't like who you are, you don't like what you have, you don't like your routine, you don't like your relationship with your spouse, you don't like your relationship with your kids, you don't like the business you built, you don't even want to go in anymore because you built such a toxic environment because you just are afraid to hold people accountable. Just be nice to each other. Show up. Do your job. Be nice. Go ahead, those are going to be your core values. You can use those going forward. Go ahead, we're going to talk about that here in a minute. Show up, do your job, be nice. Core values. Woo! Put it on the website. It's not hard. It's not hard. Click. Saying no to the things that don't matter is the greatest gift you can give to the things that do. That friend, that client call that comes through at 6:30 when you told your wife, sweetheart, this week, Wednesday, I'll have dinner with the family. This week. But babe, you understand, I'm doing this for y'all. Answer, no, you're not. I'm sorry to tell you, if you think you are, you're lying to yourself. I don't know how this became such a common theme in business, but no matter how hard you work today, you're showing up to a pile of it tomorrow. And we think, just one more call, just one more email, just one more estimate, just one more invoice. Babe, I promise. Babe, I promise. Kids, I'm coming. Workout, gym, I'm coming. Diet starts Monday. One more thing, one more thing, one more thing. It doesn't go away. It's never going away. You don't want it to go away, because some of you right now are like, man, I just wish I could get some more clients. You get some clients like, damn, I wish I could just get some more time. Pick a side. Careful what you wish for, because when you get it, it comes with all the bad side too. That's part of life. That's part of business. You said you wanted something. The enemy's going to come out to attack you to see how bad you really want it. What are you willing to say no to now So you can say yes to the things that really do matter. And sometimes those things that really do matter are right now. Sometimes they're like in the today. Sometimes it's the patience of getting what you really want later. Oop. Sometimes what you really want is on the other side of that no. Ooh, gives me chills. That hard conversation that you're afraid to have, ooh, other side of that one. That fire, that person you've been like, they'll come around. No, they're not. No, they're not. Do you know why? Because you've tolerated their underperformance for as long as they've been there. Why would they change? You fall in love with the potential of what they might be able to do for you, because that one time on a Thursday from 11 to 12, they showed up strong. Where'd that person go? On the other side of that fire is the employee you didn't know you needed. On the other side of that fire is the process that gets built. On the other side of that fire is a level of player on your team you did not know you were even deserving of. So win fast, win often. What you see on our sign out there is a tagline for the business. Win fast, win often. There's a whole backstory that I'm not going to get into right now and what that means to me. But it's funny because I've been coaching people for so long, and we have a lot of clients right now, and they make a joke because pretty much every time someone brings me a problem, my response is fire them. Fire them. So now we're talking about developing a fire fast, win often t-shirt because it matters. And people just forget about it, that they forget that I'm confident every time you have fired somebody, the next one was better because you were better at choosing. You were better at interviewing. You're better at onboarding. The business is in a better spot. But we're so afraid to give up on that thing or say no to that thing or say no to that friend or maybe say no to that family member who just has extreme scarcity and negativity. Every time you go over there, you leave a worse person. And sometimes it's coming from love. For me, it was like my mom. My mom was just so afraid of me failing that she tried to protect me. I had to create some barriers. Because every time I went over there, she made me feel like I shouldn't do it or couldn't do it or it won't happen because she was so afraid that if I get to that level, the fall will be so far she wouldn't want her baby to hurt. I love you, Mom. I need some space. I'm building something scary right now. You want to build something, I sell my opinion for a living. That's just scary. Because I deal with imposter syndrome just like everybody else. So yes, I'm up here. And yes, I've earned the right to be up here. I am very good at what I do. Every time I sign a new client, I'm like, this is the one that calls me on my shit and they're right. Just like every time you sign a client, this is the one we mess up. Here comes the lawsuit. I knew it was coming. It happens. But sometimes that no is to that person that just makes you feel like you can't win or don't deserve to win or shouldn't win or shouldn't chase the win. Click. Ask yourself, and I want you to really ask yourself these questions. How many people are you trying to please, and how many roles are you trying to play? For you note takers, go ahead, write that down. Create 2 lists. You're going to get to 13 lines down the page. You're like, damn, I am giving so much to everybody else. Because roles and people, sometimes you don't think about. I'll just use roles as an example. For many of you, maybe your husband, leader. For most of you, you're in your business, so your sales, productions, operations, and finance. Okay, those are roles. You're also Uber driver for your kids. You're an Instacart shopper. You're a chef. You're potentially trying to be athletic. Potentially. These are all roles that we have to play, and that's just off the top of my head. You look at how many people you're trying to please. Think through your week. It's year to date. It is the 17th. I want you to spend time this trip making those lists. How many people, actually physically, how many people am I trying to please? The list is longer than you realize. The roles is longer than you realize. The energy you're dispersing to everybody else is more than you realize, and you're wondering why you feel dead inside all the time. I mean, that's not everybody, okay? I'm not broad stroking this whole room as a bunch of losers, okay? That's not what I'm doing. But everybody is experiencing what I'm talking about here in some aspect of their life, because business is not life and life is not business. It is it. People ask me all the time, Mike, how much do you work? Because I do a lot. I do a lot. I work at life 18 hours a day, and it all has to work in harmony. Not balance, harmony. Time with my kids, time with my wife, time at the gym, eating. And then eventually as you get some financial success, you get to outsource some of that. I have an assistant now. But I did everything that she does for me to earn the right to even be able to hire her. Because I can't sacrifice the role. Click. What people try to do in their life, and these are just 6 roles that I believe somebody in this room is trying to play. What we do is we take every individual role in that list and we define what success looks like as if 100% of your energy and attention is in that role. Man, how much could I do as the CEO if all I had to do was be a CEO? What could I do as a spouse if all I had, my life would be, oh man, I'd be the best parent ever if all I had to do was be a parent. I don't want to be a stay-at-home parent. I would suck at that job. From day one. But we do it, we say, okay, what would success, what's the ceiling of potential in each of these roles? And in your head, you compartmentalize like a champ. In each role, you're like, what would I be like as a parent or a spouse or a leader in sales or as a friend or in their finances? What would I do? What would I be like if all I had to do was focus on that one thing? And then we measure ourselves to that thing. And then many of you, a lot of business owners in here, so I'm just using business, but this applies to everybody in the room. You spend all day in that role. Maybe it's CEO, maybe it's stay-at-home mom, maybe it's homeschool teacher. You spend all day in that one role. And man, I killed it today. And then you sit down and you're like, I didn't do any of the other jobs today. I had that one, that crushed that one, but everything else hit the floor. Everything else got dropped. I didn't go to the gym like I said I was going to. I forgot date night with my wife. I forgot to pick my kid up from school, or I left my kid at the gym. We've all done it. Okay, we've all done it. Don't act like you ain't done it. But when we do that, and then we feel anxious, we feel depressed, we feel defeated, we feel like, God, I'm constantly letting everybody down. Why can't I just fix this? Because you are setting wildly unrealistic expectations for yourself. What we do is we build these ceilings of potential in these roles that we think other people will think is winning. I challenge you for the rest of the event, when someone asks you, what do you do? Tell them your net revenue number, not your gross revenue number. That changed some conversations. Because we get so stuck on winning is the ceiling, and we forget to protect the floor. Click. Sometimes you have to sacrifice the ceiling in one bucket to protect the floor in another. What I mean by that is that you accomplished everything you did in each of the buckets that matter to you. I have 4 right now. Husband, father, leader, athlete. If it does not fit one of those roles, I do not have time for it. I'm not a good friend because I'm not trying to be. I'm not a bad friend. I'm disengaged from friendships. And if that hurts your feelings, that's your problem. Because every time I sacrifice what I need to be doing right now to appease you as my friend, because you're needy, because you hate your life too, so you're waiting for me to make you feel better about your life. Come on, Mike, let's go out. You always pay for everything. That's what we do. And so every time I sacrifice and I cross that line, I then let something else down. I underperform in another one. I underperform and underperform and underperform. And the ceiling ends up not mattering. I've used a similar analogy for years when it comes to this topic. And it's, if you've ever won something, like first place, a trophy, an accomplishment, recognized, it doesn't matter. If you've ever accomplished something, you got like a blue ribbon, you got gold star. If you didn't do everything you knew you were supposed to do, you immediately devalue people celebrating you. Oh, it's not that big of a deal. What you're really saying is, if you only knew how hard I actually worked, you would not believe I deserved this. When you win something, man, great job, you killed it, awesome job. Like when I come off stage sometimes, like, you killed it. I'm like, I totally messed up, minute 23. Y'all don't even know it, but I hate myself right now. You immediately devalue the celebration or the recognition because you're like, I didn't do it. If you only knew how much I really was disciplined on this thing, you probably wouldn't be that happy for me. You'd be judging me too, because I'm judging me. Conversely, if you gave it everything you were supposed to do, if you showed up every day with intention, every day with discipline, you follow through on every to-do item, every initiative, whether you win or lose, you feel like a winner. The loss doesn't feel like a loss because I gave it everything I got. And that's why it doesn't matter. The ceilings don't matter. It's protecting the floors. It's protecting. Let me define this for a minute. Ceiling is what you believe your highest potential is, which is actually bullshit because you're actually capable of more than you realize. The floor is your minimum acceptable performance for you to feel like you're showing up in that role. That's what I mean by ceiling and floor. Click. This is what most people do. And I'm using this because you guys are mostly busy. We put everything in that bucket, and then like your marriage isn't where you want it, your kids aren't where you want it, your sales aren't where you want it, your friends aren't where they want them, and your finances are at 0. But this is how we show up every day. But Mike, I showed up. I worked hard today. Why don't I have anything to show for it? Because you underperform the other 5 roles that you say are important to you. There are people in this room that I think will agree with this statement. Once you achieve a certain financial income, money doesn't matter the same way anymore. It becomes this token of exchange for things you actually want. And if you haven't achieved that yet, it's pretty cool. Be honest, it's pretty cool. Not worrying about payroll, not worrying about your next mortgage payment. You want to go do a thing, you can do it, and you're just trading money for things, for experiences. But when you put everything into that role, you become very reactive to that one. And then you wake up one day realizing you underperformed in every other one. This is where you have to get selfish, right here. Many of you are right here in one of the roles. Maybe it's not CEO. Maybe you manage your way out of your business, but your health isn't where you want it. Maybe your relationships aren't where you want it. Maybe your finances aren't because you just haven't spent the time to increase the minimum performance in that category. I'm not going to ask you to shake your hand, shake your head, raise your hand or anything. But if this lands with you, I would love an opportunity to talk with you. Because this is what I help people fix. Because maybe you have the money and the business, but you lost everything else along the way that you actually wanted. You forgot to prioritize a pro because you don't define it. To be able to stay above the floor, you have to define the floor. Click. Because this is what I want you to look like. This would be the proper amount in each category. Because sometimes, and I did this intentionally, like spouse is under CEO. Sweetheart, I'm building something. Right now, that's going to get more attention than you. But here's what I can commit to. My wife and I have a lunch date every Monday. We do date nights every other week, planned on the calendar from January 1st. We have every date night on the calendar from the beginning of the year. We do overnight date nights once a quarter. We go on 2 one-on-one trips a year and 2 trips as a family. When we build our calendar for the year, that goes on it first. Everything else fits around it. I have an opportunity to speak at an event, or believe I have an opportunity to speak at an event in May 2nd. May 3rd is supposed to be a father-son fishing trip. Guess what? I ain't going. My sons deserve a fishing trip with their father. That event would likely net me multiple 6 figures in revenue. Priorities. But I can tell them, and I can tell my sons, and I'll give you another example, parents lower than that. Hey sons, you'll understand this one day, but your mother comes first. Give a shit what you want right now. Sit down. But they understand it. To the point of our typical heavy sales season as an organization is Q4. right? Like the whole like coaching thing, like make next year better. Yeah, I do that shit too. But it works. And so I sat my sons down intentionally and said, guys, for the next 10 weeks, Daddy's gonna be very distracted building the business for next year. I apologize, I'm gonna be unavailable, but I'm gonna be on my phone a lot. If you need me, please go through Mom. These are the times and the days that you can count on me being available for you. To the point where they knew exactly what they were going to get. It makes me a little emotional because that was last year. So that was 2022 going into 2023. I made some pivots. I hired a sales guy. I wasn't as busy this past quarter, but my sons still know I'm busy. They appreciate that, like, when I make time for them, it matters. And so the other night, my son and I are trying to, like, learn the guitar. I don't play guitar. I have a guitar that I suck at. But the other night, I asked MJ if he wanted to go play. MJ's my older, he's eight. And we're like walking through the house, down the stairs to the basement where we go play, and he stops at the top of the stairs. He's 8. He looks at me. He goes, Dad, I want you to know I really appreciate you taking the time to do this with me. I know you are busy, and I want you to know this means a lot to me. He's 8, and he values time. Because I told him what to expect. When he gets extra, it's a gift. I don't underperform, but that's what I can give them right now. I'm busy. I'm not too busy for you, but this is the amount of busy I can be, and here's the amount you can get from me. And I sit my 8 and 5-year-old down and tell them I have that conversation. This is what you can get from me this week. Here's when you're gonna have me, and I never miss. That's the selfish side. I don't let distractions interrupt me. I don't let things pop up. But Mike, what happened? Nothing happens. If I can't solve it, it goes unsolved, or I hire somebody to solve it. That's it. Because I'm not gonna not follow through, because now, when I tell my 8 and 5-year-old that something's going to happen, with 0 doubt, 100% certainty, they know it's going to happen. What's the power in that in a relationship? Because we say we're doing it for that person, but then they tend to get the first kind of next time. So how do you do this? Click. These are 2 questions I want you to write down. I want you to take a picture of. I want you to engage in. So as you make your list of roles that we talked about earlier, I want you to answer these 2 questions in extreme detail for each of the roles that you say are a priority to you. And then here's the trick. Here's the hard part. Here's the part that very few people can figure out on their own. You need to be able to 100% execute on that definition of each of those roles without sacrificing another one. That's the hard part. How do I get everything I want in each without sacrificing something in another? It's redefining what winning looks like to you. You're in charge. You decide. We spend so much time measuring our vision for our success to what other people think. I don't care what you think about how me and my wife spend time together. I don't care. Because what her and I have agreed to allows me to build the business the way I want, allows me to be a parent the way I want, allows me to be an athlete the way I want, and that's all that matters to me. Am I living up to those questions, to the roles that matter? And you gotta do it in detail. I have 4 roles. I probably have 40 to 50 sentences total. People are like, well, Mike, how many? Stop being so needy and just do the work, man. People overthink just the crap out of stuff. They overthink and overthink. Well, Mike said I need to be 8. I only have 7. Man, I suck. You're not getting the point. You're comparing your success to what I think it should be. I don't know what the number should be. But I want you to spend some serious thought looking at. And this doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, business owner, spouse, not employee. It doesn't matter where you are in life. This matters. How do you want to show up as a friend? How do you want to prepare to, like, let's say you're single. Who do you want to be and what do you want to be known for as someone's future spouse? I see this happen a lot with, I deal with some single people in my life, and they complain about how they can't find someone. And I will well, look at the bait, man. Like, it's not very attractive. Like, let's look at the bait. It's not working. Would you want a spouse that would settle for where you are right now? Ooh. Would you stay married to a spouse that operates like you do right now? That's the stuff that hurts. Because I need you to look in the mirror and get very selfish. Who do I want to be and what do you want to be known for in each of those roles? I have 4, whatever you guys have, use it. Document it. You are not allowed to create a vision for one of your roles that will force you to sacrifice the floor in another one. I ask business all the time, man, hey, what do you build, man? Dude, 100 million, man, 100 million. We're headed there, man. Where you at now? Dude, we did 1.2 million last year, bro. It was a great year. You don't get it. No one really wants a $100 million company because that comes with $100 million problems. What most people want is a $100 million company with $5 million company expenses. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. That would be great, right? Like, man, I got like 6 people and we're doing like 100 million. Nope. No. Most of y'all can't keep 10 people employed, no less 50. What do you want? And none of them, again, we're talking about defining the floor. What is minimum performance in the roles that matter to me? Which roles need to go? Which roles need to stay? Which roles need more? Which roles need less? But define it for you, 100% for you, 100% selfish, so that you can give what matters most to the things that matter most. Does that make sense? Please tell me that makes sense. If not, I want to talk to you. I want to spend time with you. I'd love to coach you, or my team at least. This is what we do. And so how do you blend this into everything else? Click. You saw Eric talking about his mission and vision, and I'm sure there's core values in there as well. These 3 things become the lighthouse. This becomes the North Star that everything in your ecosystem gets measured towards. All right, I'm going to do a very high-level, 12-minute overview of these 3 things. I could spend 2 days talking about this. My education session tomorrow, I think it's at 10 a.m., in here, is about these 3 things. I'm going to spend all the time I have on these 3 things. But I'm going to do a quick high-level overview because this becomes what everything gets measured to. From a baseline perspective, the mission is why are we here? The vision is what does it look like? And the core values are the guardrails that get you there with integrity. Mission, why are we here? Vision, what will it look like physically? Vision. Core values, the guardrails that get you there with integrity. There's a lot of ways to build a business. Not all of them are ways things you should be proud about. You're here for a reason. Like, this is such a cool environment because every one of you are JobTread users. There's no non-JobTread customers in this room. That is an incredible accomplishment from Eric and his team. But point being is, this is us versus them. These are the things that help you differentiate from the average people in your marketplace. Because most of you are not talking about it enough. Click. Actually clicked at that time. That was silly. Mission. Why did you start your company? What is your team's purpose for what you do? Who are you trying to help? When it comes to a mission statement, this is my opinion. I believe it should define the impact you're trying to make externally that has some form of an indefinite measurement. The mission is not, we want to build a $100 million company. That's the vision. That's physically what it looks like. So like my personal mission statement is, I want to make an impact with every conversation I have. That sounds very grandiose, but it becomes very simple. I have to focus on the next conversation I'm going to have. I'm going to prepare, organize, plan, show up right, give eye contact, pay attention, put my phone down. Like, I want to make an impact with every conversation I have. And there are people, I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand, but there are clients in this room, there's audience members in this room, and I've released thousands of pieces of content. I know for a fact for the last 8 years I have lived that mission. I'm very intentional with my time, I'm very intentional with my words, I'm very intentional with my attention, and I make an impact with every conversation I have in some way, shape, or form. I know it because I try, I pay attention to it. But you see how that's not measurable. There's no end goal. WinRate's mission statement, we just changed it, is to guide individuals and companies in the construction home service space to greater levels of success in life and business by helping them simplify and systemize their decision making. Every decision we make as an organization is, does it help us or not to that mission? It's not measurable. This is what we do. We guide individuals and companies in the home service and construction space to greater levels of success in life and business by helping them simplify and systemize their decision making. Most of you know exactly what to do, you're just not comfortable making the decision. You just need some borrowed confidence, you need some collaboration, you need some corroboration, you need some people to tell you, no man, that's it. It sucks, but that's right, keep going. That's what we do. So the vision, click. Take a picture of this. I'm not going to read this word for word. But I look at the vision as base camps. Okay? Base camps going up the mountain. You do not go from the bottom to the top of Mount Everest. You will die. There are base camps for a reason. And when you get to a base camp, I don't know the exact time, but you are told to sit there and acclimate for a season or a time period. You skip a base camp, you die. You stop between base camps, you die. An example of that would be like 2.5 million in revenue. Your overhead's too much and your profit's not enough. That's no man's loan. That's no man's zone. No man's land. Jesus. I speak for a living, can't you tell? But you have to build base camps. It's not 0 to 100 million. It's what's the next base camp? What does it look like? How many people? How many decks? How many remodels? How many kitchens? How many employees? How many locations? Physically, you have to be able to see it. Because when you can see it, your team can see it. If your team can see it, they can buy into it. If they buy into it, you are a lot more likely to get it. But the base camp is not grandiose. It's accomplishable. You say, well, Mike, how far out should I look? I think a good 2 to 3 year time limit. But I don't like putting time set on things. When you put a time limit on things, like we're going to be there by the end of the year, when you get to September and you realize you're off pace, what do? You change the target. I talked to someone, 9 million. Well, it's September, we're at 6.5. Well, better luck next year. No, the goal would be I'm building a $9 million business. I don't care how long it takes me. It looks like this. We have this many installers. We have this many salespeople, this many operations, two law offices. That's the base camp we're working towards. Because when you get there, you have to stay there and acclimate for the wake of crap you got wrong along the way to get there to catch up. You know what I'm talking about. It happens to all of us. If you don't stop and settle for a minute to be able to fix problems that you just created in this massive push to the base camp, and you bypass it too quick, at some point it gets too big. And it buries you. It avalanches right over top of you. You're like, I thought we were doing well. The reports look good. This looked good. JobTread's telling me this, everything's going awesome. What happened? Well, those 2 employees you hired that you didn't oversight were screwing you and stealing from you. Your AR is clearly crazy, $800,000. Who do you think you are just loaning that money to everybody else? When you have AR like that, you have to look at it as I am lending them that money at a negative interest rate. Because you're basically the bank for them. Call Acorn. Let Acorn be the bank. Don't be the bank for free. But that's those waves. Because every time you push to another base camp, you have to break through some boundaries. You have to break through some barriers. You have to try some stuff you've never tried before, and you're going to get it wrong. At least twice. You got it wrong once, try again. Ooh, new lesson. Okay, got it. With every hire, with every promotion, with every leader you bring on, every new marketing strategy, everything. Everybody always tells me, Mike, you don't understand. My business is different. No, it's not. But it feels different. You know why it's different? Because what you want is different. That's the only thing that makes your business different. It's what are you building? What you're building is the only thing that makes your business different. Are you on pace, off pace, big enough, small enough? It doesn't matter because what you want is different. Business ain't different, the vision is different. And everybody on your team, every vendor, supplier, employee, spouse, everybody needs to know, what are we building? We hit 3 million last year in revenue. That was the base camp I developed 4 years ago. The next base camp's 10. And I know at 10 million, I need 61 employees, 35 coaches. We need 555 clients at $18,000 average client value. I can tell you exactly how much I'm going to pay every one of those employees to make sure I hit a 20% net profit while I make $500,000 a year with 0 hours of coaching. How clear are you? I want it so badly, I'm not going to stop till I get there. There is no time limit. There is no by 2026. It's I'm building a $10 million company with 61 fucking employees, and I'm not going to stop till I get there. And my whole team knows it. And they're excited too, because when they see it, and they see what happens for them when they help you get your vision to come true, everybody wins. Clients win, employees win, families win, you win, bank account win, freedom, everything wins. You got to be clear. 4 minutes, okay, click. Core values. These are our core values. I'm gonna go very in-depth tomorrow about how to develop core values and implement them. A lot of people make the mistake of saying, we have core values. Where are they? On the wall. On the website. If I ask you right now, what are your core values, and you cannot recite them to me, you don't have usable core values. We all have values. They're inside of us. 2 major mistakes I see when it comes to developing core values. 1, they're aspirational. It's who I'd like to be. Timeliness, but I'm late to every meeting. Details matter, but I don't even know how to use punctuation in emails. Like, he gets it. Get that man Grammarly. Core values cannot be aspirational. You have to live them every day by nature. Most people dilute their core values because they're afraid of upsetting people. When you tolerate things that trigger you, but you don't say anything about it, that's one of your core values. These are, without a shadow of a doubt, my values. And everyone on my team knows it. The second mistake people make with core values is they never use them. They just heard at an event one time. That Mike did it. He said we need core values. Let's put some words on a sheet, and let's just, what do we do with it now? I don't know. Core values are a leadership and management tool. I have the bullet points in there because I want people, no matter what their perspective is, to be able to fully understand what do I mean by that core value. Those 20 bullet points are the behaviors, activities, mindsets, decision-making that I manage by. I don't reprimand you for getting it wrong. I reprimand you for being prepared to show up and ready to do the work. I reprimand you for being scarcity mindset, not reading books, not being willing to fail forward. These are the behaviors, decisions, mindsets that I use to judge everything in my life. I have 3 businesses. I didn't put the other one up there. So my wife and I started a nonprofit. Honestly, running a nonprofit kind of sucks. So I don't talk about it that much because it's incredibly hard. In case you don't know this, the government likes getting paid. And when you donate to a nonprofit, the government doesn't get paid. And they don't like that. And it's very difficult. But every one of my organizations run by the same core values. Everyone on my team knows them. Because it's part of the expectation. Because if you cannot recite the core values need to become a subconscious measurement of do I or don't I? I'm standing at a crossroad. I'm an employee. Do I leave early today or not? Do I leave that cut looking like that or not? Do I leave that trash or not? Do I set my alarm to be on time tomorrow or not? It's never like, do I kill them or not? Like, people don't make bad decisions. It's what level at which do they operate when no one's watching to your standards. Again, selfish as you can be. If you don't operate in this, you're fired. That doesn't mean you're a bad person. I still like you. You just suck at this one thing, so go do it for somebody else. You like that? Yeah, he's about to use that today. He's about to text somebody. Because this is the bottom line. I want my business to be something I'm excited to show up to. And if you can't do these things, I don't like it. Which means I don't like my business. And when you don't want to show up to your business, it controls you in all the wrong ways. I challenge you to be here at 10 o'clock tomorrow so I can help you build your mission, vision, and core values. I help people win at life and business. This is what I do, and I believe I conveyed that to you pretty well today. You have to take action from here. We will be here for the next 3 days to answer any of your questions. I have no offer. There is no $22,000 offer I have for you today, okay? I'm gonna charge you a lot of money, and it's gonna be worth it. That's a fact. We have a 100% money-back guarantee on all coaching contracts. It's not an offer. We are expensive for a reason, because we get real results. And we can help you build tools like this to change your life forever. Thank you.
I believe that we will win.